Luc Bouchard with Salt Life Coaching Services. I've been a certified life skills coach for 22 years and I specialize in men's issues and what keeps men stuck. Welcome. This is our interview day and I have the pleasure of interviewing count them, four guys back to back. And I'm really excited about it. We just had supper, we had a nice meal, talked about our childhood and how much fun that wasn't at times. And today I'm interviewing Nathan. Welcome, Nathan. Thank you very much for joining me.
Thanks for having me.
So, Nathan, you are 22 years old.
Correct.
And we've known each other for about 12 years. And you are a survivor of cancer. And I've asked you if you're okay with sharing with that. And so can you tell us about what kind of cancer you had and some particulars around that?
Well, I had a nasopharyngeal alveolar rhabdomyosarcoma. I know it's a bit of a mouthful, but
can you say that again?
A nasopharyngeal alveolar rhabdomyosarcoma.
Okay.
So it was a stage 3 tumor that started at the back of my skull and progressed through. It went through my nasal pharynx and actually popped right on my right nostril. It's this white, cheesy mass that you could touch and wiggle and move around, and it was. I didn't know what it was. No one knew what it was, really.
How long did it take them to diagnose it?
Good few months, probably. Went for some allergy tests. Different doctors saw and didn't quite know what it was. They thought it was a polyp at first. Finally, they did a biopsy and took a little bit of it out. Found out it was cancer, and then a doctor he debulked it. So he took out 90% of my tumor by just yanking all of it out, and then had 6 weeks of radiation and 48 weeks of chemo.
48 weeks of chemo. And this happened when you started when?
I was 11 years old.
11 years old. And so what is it like having cancer at 11?
That's it's hard to answer that question. At the time, I had a lot of defense mechanisms in place where I just thought I was fine with it. Whatever, you puke every day, it's something you get used to, and at the time I didn't think it was that big of a deal, but now as more time goes on and I look back on it, I wouldn't wish it on anybody.
I guess not. So how has that changed besides being a survivor of cancer, how has that changed your life with compared to other adults your age? What do you find that people can identify with you, or that people understand you with what you went through?
Some can, most don't.
Really?
I do feel like it's set me apart a little bit, just because I had to go through such this rigorous healing process and deal with such a powerful disease that it really changed my outlook on life and how I saw things. It really affected me, and I think I would have been a very different person had I not had it. But yeah, just all the different little quirks and things that does your body really kind of, I feel, sets me apart sometimes.
Right. So, as a man who has dealt with cancer and who has gone through that life altering event and whatnot, how do you find your relationships with women? Do you find that is something that comes easy? Do you find that you often question, or because really a lot of what we talk about is masculinity and how we identify as men and how we are what we think about ourselves as men and whatnot. And does that leave you any kind of questions about really what other guys do, or is that just your experience?
Well, with how it affects me with women, I almost find it helps me a little bit, because it's a great conversational piece.
Okay.
And you can bring it up, and then they get interested by it. You can bring it into other conversational topics, and it's the fact that I've gone through something so big, I think gains me a lot of respect sometimes.
Okay.
So I have no problems making friends with women. Just taking it a step further is not
Right.
always the easiest part, but that's with everybody, right?
That's certainly, yeah. I can relate to that a lot.
But I mean, on a more masculine side, I'm certainly not the strongest of people, and the cancer did a lot of nerve and muscle damage to my body.
Right.
So I see a lot of big beefy guys with the cute little ladies on their arms, and I can't help but wonder if if it's affected my ability to attract people. Really.
Right. A question I often ask guys is, what do you think gets in the way of guys being happy as men?
Other guys.
Other guys.
Other guys.
Tell me more.
Social norms and expectations of what it is to be masculine and how to be masculine and how to display it. And it's hard to be a genuine person sometimes, or a genuine male, because some personality you want to exhibit or some trait that you have may not be masculine enough.
Right.
And it like for me personally, I just recently took up tap dancing.
Okay.
And I really love it. I enjoy it. It's good physio for my feet because I have muscle damage there. But I've had some people kind of look at me oddly and go, dancing? Well, guys don't dance. Or,
Right.
or that's just,
Yeah.
it always catches people off guard. So I just think it's a lot of just all the, everything that's already set up socially just kind of gets in our way.
Right. A lot of posturing by guys, and
Yes.
a lot of worrying about what it's going to look like.
The machismo and just
Yeah.
the dance you have to do.
The dance you have to do. Trying to think what else I wanted to ask you. So you're in university,
Yes, I'll be starting up again this fall.
okay? And have you decided what you're going to be when you grow up? Because I know what I haven't.
No, my dad's 63 and he still says he doesn't know what he wants to be when he grows up. So, I don't know. Right now I'm pretty torn. Half of me wants to go do social work because I've seen what good social workers can do, especially in the hospital. I'd love to go work with other children with cancer and just kind of be a physical embodiment of survival.
Right.
And say, hey, look, I survived. You can survive too. And I think that would be a very rewarding job for me. And the other half of me wants to go do art, which is my passion, and draw and do illustrations. But that's the term "starving artist" is around for a reason,
Yeah,
right? So
absolutely correct.
I some part of me would rather do social work than starve.
Right.
So it'll always be a passion.
Well, you also have a point of reference that a lot of people don't have. I certainly don't have that point of reference of having to come to a life event like that. So that would, do you think that would really help you with working with people, having that kind of background of being a cancer survivor?
Yes, I think so. I mean, it gave me. I've been told, at least, it's given me a lot of wisdom and just an emotional depth.
Right.
And just being able to understand how people work and how they are. I mean, for the longest time, my mother used to tell me that I missed some social building blocks.
Okay.
So when I was in the hospital for a year, I was just sort of cloistered. I only really talked to doctors and nurses. I didn't talk to kids my own age. And when I came out, I was very socially awkward. And
Right.
I just had a very hard time talking to other people sometimes, and quite a few years to get out of that. But now, after so many years of looking at it and analyzing it and trying to identify how humans have to interact with each other, I find I've almost come out of the other side, where I now understand it so well that I can take all that information that I've gained from analyzing it for so long and using it for a better purpose.
Wow. Well, thank you very much, Nathan, for joining me. Take time out of your night.
Thanks for
I
having
really
me.
appreciate you being here. Luc Bouchard with Solvac Life Coaching Services. I often talk about authenticity, and one thing I find about my young friend Nathan is that he's extremely authentic and has no problem saying the way it is, and he gets honest, and that's one of the things I value the most about him, is that he is really quite able to talk about his reality and whatnot, and I've learned a lot from him, and I'm just so grateful that he's in my life. I hope you guys have some authentic relationships in your life, because it's certainly a lot better, and when we can talk to other men and just be with other men, it just gets better. So I'm going to have a couple more interviews. These are going to be spanned over a couple of Sundays, of course, but thank you for joining me, and we'll talk to you later. Okay.